Today on English You Should Know, we are learning all about relative pronouns. I'm your teacher, Morgan. Let's start learning. What is a relative pronoun? A relative pronoun connects two ideas or clauses in a sentence. They help us get more information about a noun. The most common relative pronouns are who, whom, whose, which, and that. There are two kinds of relative pronouns: defining relative clause and non-defining relative clause. The defining relative clause gives us necessary information to identify the noun. A non-defining relative clause is extra information that is not necessary to know. Let's look at an example of a defining relative clause. I called my sister who that lives in Miami. This means I have more than one sister, and I called the one that lives in Miami. Now, for the non-defining relative clause, my sister who lives in Miami is 2 years older than me. This means I have only one sister, but I mention our age difference. Is our age difference important? No, it's not. It's extra information. In this sentence, we offset the non-defining relative clause with 2 commas. A very important rule: we cannot use that in non-defining relative clauses. Let's take a look at these examples more closely. My sister, who lives in Miami, is 2 years older than me. What if we took out the relative clause, who lives in Miami? Does the sentence still make sense? My sister is 2 years older than me. Yes, it makes perfect sense because the information about where she lives is not important. Now to the defining relative clause. Remember, this gives us important, necessary information. I called my sister who that lives in Miami. What if we take out the relative pronoun? I called my sister lives in Miami. No, that is not a sentence. It is necessary here to have the relative clause because we need to know the sister and where she lives. Another example of a defining relative clause is I didn't know the teacher who taught us today. And for a non-defining relative clause, these pens, which are expensive, are made in Japan. And remember, we cannot use that for non-defining relative clauses. Let's take a closer look at each relative pronoun. Who? We use this for people. It refers to the person performing an action. Who is a subject pronoun, such as I, we, she, he, and they. To check if we know we are using the correct word, we can replace this relative pronoun with another subject pronoun. For example, who is traveling for work? You can say she is traveling for work. We cannot say her is traveling for work. Another example, who bought the cake? They bought the cake. Not them bought the cake. Remember, we can use it like a subject pronoun. Next up, we have whom. We use this for people. It's used more in writing, and it tells us who receives the action of the sentence. Whom is an object pronoun like me, her, him, us, and them. Let's see. Whom should I speak to about my computer? You should speak to him. Not he. You should speak to him. Whom would you like to see a movie with? I would like to see a movie with her. Not she, her. Whose is used to show possession. We use this for people, animals, and things. For example, the teacher wanted to know whose bag was on the floor. In this sentence, we want to know, who does the bag belong to? What person does the bag belong to? Or the police asked whose car is parked in the grass. Here we want to know, who does the car belong to? Which refers to objects and animals. The book which is on the table is mine. Here we get more information about the book. That is used with people, animals, or objects. That's the dog that we adopted. Here we get information about the dog. Now let's take a quiz. Can you read the sentence and complete it with the correct relative pronoun? Can you please return the calculator blank you borrowed yesterday? Can you please return the calculator that you borrowed yesterday? To blank did you give the book? Answer is, to whom did you give the book? The students blank test grades were low had to do more homework. The students whose test grades were low had to do more homework. Do you know anyone blank could fix my cracked screen? Do you know anyone who could fix my cracked screen? The cat blank was hit by the car was injured. The cat which was hit by the car was injured. If you like to learn English, please subscribe and like this video.